friends, to another episode of the podcast. We're on episode 13 now. We brought back my friend Phry McDunstan to kick off the new year, and I'm really excited to share this with you. Him and Dave got along just famously, and it was a lot of fun to be back at Dave's. I hope you enjoy the episode. We also have a tribute to Jeff Beck a little bit in. I've got the timestamps added as well, and you can watch Phry play a tribute to Jeff Beck. Rest in peace. And I don't really have much else to say. Let's get to the episode.
Dave's been recording and tracking, so I kind of came and commandeered his studio today.
You're working on new music?
Well, retracking old music.
Oh,
yeah, like I've got 12 songs that are, well, I thought they were done, but I mean, I really listened back to them and I'm like, okay, I keep remixing, and I think I'm trying to mix out poor playing, and that's not working. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I'm listening back to some of the stuff I did, and it's like, this is lazy. These are lazy takes that, you know what I mean? In some places where I'm like, I think this isn't sounding right just because it's not played, you know, as tight as it could be, right?
Yeah.
In some cases. And I've gone through, because I programmed out all my drums myself.
Right.
So I've kind of tweaked them a little bit as I've been going, bit by bit by bit. And then I listen back, you know, say to the bass tracks compared to some of the drums. Now it's like, oh, there's little things now that are just not, it doesn't hit the same because I changed this or that and tried to adjust it to make something sound. But anyway, long story short is I'm just going through this week,
right,
knocking them all back out again. It's way quicker this time because
This is something like you can spend so much time just like reworking everything and editing everything, and most of the time it's just quicker to re-record it.
Well, that's just it, right? And like I said, trying to my recording quality, my mix quality has increased so much now over the last couple of years since I started this project.
Yeah.
Now things that weren't as apparent before are now like, oh, I can hear that now, and that doesn't sound right. Like, what's going on in there? It's like, oh, okay, like, you know, this keyboard and synth part is not exactly playing along with the guitar the way maybe I thought, because it was just kind of, you know, a little muddier, a little mixed in a way that's like, oh, okay, well, you know, you don't really hear it.
Have you released these songs yet, or
no?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
okay,
no,
so
that's
no one will like complain.
No, exactly. It's I was gonna release these a long time ago, but I'm kind of glad I haven't, because like I said, the level of quality has increased.
Yeah.
Well, we keep talking to people like you and some of our friends that have come on the podcast. We keep learning about like modern marketing when it comes to music, and we keep learning about new little things too. So it's kind of a good thing.
Well, yeah, I've been tweaking the plan a little bit. The initial plan is still the same as it was when I kind of conceived it, but like some of the steps have changed now for what I'm going to focus on, and just what budget and time will allow, right? Like, you know, as you know, like you only have so much time and or money to devote to something. So it's like, do you go all in on this or all in on that? And, you know, like for videos, you know, I wanted to do all these big grandiose videos at one point, and it's like, oh, well, that's for the time it's going to take to do that on the budget that I have. If I was to get something that I would be happy with in the end, like this could take me, you know, forever. So maybe I got to scale that back a little bit and be a little more realistic as to what I can actually get done on a shoestring budget in a small amount of time.
Sure. I mean, I don't know if Jesse's already told you, but last time we spoke, I was telling him about my process where we're just using an iPhone, like iPhone 12, I think, and a gimbal, and then these special lenses that my roommate got from this. Like he's a cameraman, and he created those and sells them over his or through his YouTube channel, and they're amazing. Especially the anamorphic lens makes everything look so great. I mean, if you watch my time and time again music video, this the entire thing was filmed with the anamorphic lens.
Was that the training iPhone?
No, that's the second one. It's also filmed with the same phone, but with a different lens.
Okay.
And I wish we had tried the other, like the anamorphic lens, on that video. Like also because we filmed that first, and we didn't know which how it would turn out.
Yeah. Just as
And
Jesse was pulling this up, it's like, okay, I recognize.
I'm just gonna
this.
play like 10 seconds of it here.
Yeah, throw it on.
Why not?
Why not? It looks great. Yeah, absolutely. Just I was even just watching. Did you use a gimbal for it?
Or,
yeah.
Because
go ahead.
We had a digital camera, but like getting a gimbal for that would have been much more expensive. Like a gimbal for a phone costs only a fraction of what a real like giant ass gimbal for like a digital camera would cost. So we chose to use the iPhone, and like the latest generation, or even the one before that, of at least like Apple's phones have better cameras in them than most digital cameras from a couple of years ago had,
Well, and especially like if okay, here, let me slow down. I have a digital camera, but to dial in all the settings and everything takes me 10 times the time than just point and shoot with my gimbal. My gimbal has a great auto setting, you know what I mean? And I can dial in the little bits if I want it more dramatic or whatever, because the gimbal lets you do that, right?
The app they also come with a software for your phone, and
it's regular
much easier
software. So yeah, no, that's great, man. I'm actually gonna get you to send me some of those lenses, because they're pretty incredible.
Yeah, sure. I can do that. I have to ask my roommate about the guy she bought it from. He's like a cameraman from Germany, and he has a YouTube channel. And she found out about those through that. But I think they're still available, and they're not that expensive.
That's awesome. So I've seen like the polarizing lenses where it takes away like the glare and stuff. You just clip them over your iPhone.
Okay.
I've seen those before. They use them at the tattoo shop, but I've never seen any like wide, because that's a wide shot you guys got.
Yeah. It's just the lens.
Wow. Because
you still have the black bars because it's a different format, but I can live with that.
It looks cinematic.
I'm not too tech savvy when it comes to exporting the clip and then correcting that or like changing that. So I just kept the bars, and I thought it looks like a movie.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
So what's the process of like putting the video together? Like, do you have like a bunch of music videos you like show everyone, and you're like, hey man, like I kind of want to look like this, kind of look like this, or do you just kind of show up, do what you do?
Yeah, we edit them ourselves, and I use like have you ever heard of Shotcut?
I don't think so.
That one. No.
It's a free software. It's cheap.
Sure.
Sometimes it crashes, and you always have to remember like Control S, like every couple of steps. But like I'm really happy with the results. So like if you get an Adobe product, that would be so expensive, especially now since they charge you per month.
Yeah,
which sucks.
You don't own it.
Yeah.
$20 a month.
So like the free software worked for me, and since I've been using this for 3 or 4 years now, and I'm comfortable with that, and so the workflow is there, and it's faster for at least for me. So I'll keep working with it.
Yeah.
What about like the concept, like like the building? You went and found the building with all the spray paint in it and all that. Like, did you find that out, or did you just come across it?
Yeah, we like to do a little urban exploring here and there, and this place is almost right next door to where we live. We have these.
Cool.
There's like this place is just across the street from the place where we shot the video for This Is the Place, the first or the third single of the first EP. So there's so many like old abandoned factory buildings there to explore, and some of them we haven't even seen yet. But police is never there. And yeah, I mean, when we were filming there, we have been there like a couple of times now, and there was also always someone else there, like either spraying or just exploring. So it's cool.
Yeah, right on.
That's neat. Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. There's something about the pursuit that I really find admirable, and I'm excited for this conversation today. Yeah. So now, hold on. You said something else that I want to ask you questions about now, and again, I'm excited. You said this is the third single of your first EP, right?
This Is the Place was, yeah.
Okay, so how do you like decide on your singles? How do you decide on your rollout? Like, what's that look like?
With the first EP, it was more like I decided from a practical standpoint. Like the first single was the instrumental track, Quick to Judge, and this was filmed at the studio where I had the EP mixed, and I was like I liked the place, how it looked, and I thought, okay, shooting an instrumental song first is easier than like working my way around the fact that the lead singers I work with live in the US, and especially Jeff, who's singing all the songs on the second EP and two of the songs on the first EP. He can't film himself because he doesn't have the equipment, and I don't think he has the time for that. So yeah, it was pretty much a thing out of necessity. Like the first two singles were instrumental songs. For the second one, that The Odd One Out, was filmed at this abandoned greenhouse, and that was also like more of a coincidence. One of our friends is also urban exploring, and she told us about this place, and we went there and checked it out, and then decided, okay, this is a good place to shoot another song. And yeah, with the third single, we then tried doing like a lyric video, but a lyric and performance video combined. So my roommate, she edited all the lyrics into the shots from my old hometown that we filmed, and that turned out pretty well. But that was a very exhausting process for her, since she had like to sit down for such a long time, and having her like broken back, that that was a one-time thing. She does not want to do that again. Yeah,
I bet.
That's interesting. Like, that's actually I'm in a very similar situation to you. My singer is, I mean, a lot closer than yours, but her name's Robin, and she's in a city about 3 hours away from us, right? So you know, we can arrange to get together, but it's not
super feasible, right?
It's not super feasible all the time, like you said, with time and
gas
you
is
know,
expensive.
Well,
people work,
people's lives, right?
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. So that's one of the reasons why I've been looking at. And it's funny you mentioned lyric / performance videos, because that's actually where I was. That was kind of my compromise between the two of what to really put more of a focus on for the visual aspect of what I'm looking to do. So it's interesting to hear that you've done this and had to navigate the pretty much the exact same road I'm about to go down.
And I mean, you can get really creative with that. Like, I think the main inspiration for like This Is the Place, and now Time and Time Again, this combination of lyric and performance video came from Alice in Chains, because they did something similar in 2013 when they released their song Voices.
Okay.
Because you can also see them perform like at a cool, also like abandoned factory or something. And at the same time, I mean, they had a bigger budget. They went around Seattle and put all the lyrics either in form of like neon signs or stickers, or just also spray painted them like all across Seattle. And when I saw that, or when I remembered that, I was thinking like, I could do that.
Yeah.
Even on a smaller budget.
Yeah.
a little bit of like gumption, a little bit of effort goes a long ways, especially in art. Like, come on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think nowadays it's like, as long as it's creative and interesting, right? Yeah, you can get away with things that wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah,
even 10 years ago, right? So,
right. Yeah.
So it sounds like you got a solid team. You got your roommate. Who else is on like your team of this?
Just us. And also like the guy who mixes the songs, like but he's I pay him. Like my roommate does. My roommate does this as a favor to me, and I also help her out with things that she's doing. Like she's now becoming a pole teacher. So pole dance, yeah. And today I was like being her guinea pig for a first lesson. So yeah, just
I was in the back.
Like 2 hours ago, I was like swinging around a pole. We have one. We have one in the hallway.
You can find Phry on OnlyFans and link it.
That's where the real money is.
Shout out to pole dancers, man. Pole dancing is one of the coolest sports I think I've seen. I grew up with a bunch of people that got into it for like the health and fitness stuff, man, and they could beat the shit out of me.
Yeah,
everyone beat the shit out of me.
And it's such a different kind of strength. I mean, I work out 5 times a week, and I'm pretty big, but like just gripping the pole and pulling yourself up in a certain way, and then like doing twists and stuff like that. I can't do that.
That's kind of like gymnastics and stuff, you know.
It's calisthenics.
Different strength than being able to deadlift. You know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's good to hear that you have a team that has give and take. Because like for us, it's just us two. Yeah. Like, you know, like my fiance, shout out to Danielle, like she's super supportive, but like she's not in here hands on. Like it's Dave and I, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes Kevin shows up, which is great. He's got great ears, but like for the majority of it's just the two of us. So it's cool to see like people willing to work on the same thing together.
Well, right? And I mean, I think that's like you see like these little things popping up everywhere now because of technology, and it's like technology's kind of democratized the entertainment industry the same way it has news and media in general.
Right.
It's now you don't have to have access to the biggest studio or all this production equipment. Like we're sitting here in my house.
Right.
Your house. You know what I mean? It's like we're on the internet. Anybody can see us. We can get it out there. If you can reach enough people, you can. You could potentially have the same global reach as what major media companies would have had 25 years ago, right? Yeah. So for the same type of market. So
and this will change. Like I've seen a prognosis. Like independent music will in the next like 10 years probably overtake major labels and like signed artists, because I think they're right now digging their own graves with all the like expensive ticket pricing for live shows, and like they're always behind on cutting edge technology to promote their artists. So the program I'm with, the Modern Musician guys, they're always like 3 steps ahead of everyone else. They have created this great automation system with their CRM, and we have everything that we need like in one app, all our funnels, websites, email builders, like contact lists, and everything you can imagine. That we're also now minting NFTs, and we're about to sell those. And they have developed a chatbot AI that's really that's almost indistinguishable from yourself, like when you do a messenger campaign on Facebook. Because like after a couple of weeks, there's thousands of people like wanting to contact you and write with you. So you can't, even if you wanted to, you can't talk to all these people. And the AI does that. It's doing that for us now, or for the American clients. I as a European client cannot use a messenger campaign, unfortunately, because of EU privacy laws.
Like communication stuff.
I do lead gen campaigns, which are also great, so I can't complain. Like my community is also growing. Like today, I had 6 new people join my group, which is cool, which has never happened before.
Awesome.
And yesterday, I had another lesson with one of their guys who's teaching about how to write better emails and make more sales through writing them and sending them out and working with your email list. And it's great.
Yeah.
And it's much better than like having to deal with a label where the guys are always telling you what to do and what not to, and stuff.
Well,
like that.
I mean, and that's the thing now, is that you can do that. That
you
was
have the control of it.
Like, that was the thing that struck me when I started researching this. Was, it's about 2 years I've really been, digging into the marketing side of this, and it just amazed me that like I just came to this realization, like what does a label do for you, right?
Yeah.
You've got a budget to record, marketing, at one point it was physical copies, and merchandise and all that sort of stuff, perhaps setting up tour schedule, that type of thing. Now it's like the physical copy, like of the physical medium, is very it's almost gone. Right? Other than people that, I get the vinyl
the LP collector,
people that,
sure,
that's still there, but that's not how the majority of people interact with music now, right? It's digital.
They stream it, or
right?
download it,
or download. But that takes the physical component out, right? So you don't necessarily need to house it, like create and house inventory. So you don't need a budget for that, and you don't need the logistics that would require anymore. The marketing side of it, you now have, as we were just talking about before, the capacity to reach people if you can put together a clever enough plan and actually engage people, build a community out, and keep interacting with them through, like you said, email lists and things like that. Just
even coming on shows like this,
whatever, right? Anything, right? Like anything that gets you out there. So I mean, okay, so that takes the marketing side of it away. Now, if you're savvy enough to be able to record yourself to a high enough quality, right?
Which is also getting easier by the year now.
Easier and easier. Some people like myself, I got really heavy into the mixing side of it. And that's something I've been doing for a long time. So I've taken that component out personally for something I require someone else to do. But even if you have to do that, there's tons of local guys like myself or people around that are willing, to work with you for not a crazy amount of money. So it's brought the threshold for what you need for money. You basically need to have a little bit of equipment of your own, right? And for a couple $1,000s, pretty much anywhere you can do it, right? To get a small interface. If you have a computer, some software, a couple of mics, and you obviously got to have. If you're a guitar player, you got to have a guitar, you got to have an amp, all that, whatever.
You have that anyway, You have
it anyway because that's what you're doing
without a label.
Exactly. So then you really have to ask yourself, okay, well, what is stopping me from doing this, and what would I need the label for? And unless you were at like a massive scale where you just couldn't keep up with it at a small level, or like especially in the building stage from the beginning, it's like I don't see what the benefit would be to actually even signing with a major label if they offered it for what you would get in return.
There is none. I have I don't know if you've heard of that, but Rick Beato was I saw one of his videos where he talked about a female artist who was already like pretty huge, and her label like outsourced all the marketing to her. Like they were saying, with this new song you have to make a TikTok video and then it has to go viral, and she was like, no, I don't want to do that, and that's your job, and I don't like doing TikTok videos. So they were like they refused to promote her stuff the right way, or like what labels are supposed to do. And then I think she didn't release the music at all.
Crazy.
So and she and if you say okay, well then I'll leave and do my own thing, they still have a 5-year option to your song. So you can record new music, of course, but
your back catalog,
everything you've recorded before, your back catalog belongs to them.
Exactly, right.
Which is nuts.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, there might be a trade-off if you're at the point where you need to, organize arena tours and you are, you're dealing with international, like terrestrial media, radio
logistics and all kinds of
and
stuff,
TV and stuff. And it's like, okay, and that's the world that they were built to deal in. But in the new media landscape online, again, like you said, they all they do is they're almost more of a liability to you.
Yeah, because they're behind. I mean, had they taken care of this like in the early 2000s when Napster came to be, they would probably be much more still much more relevant today.
Yeah.
But they were sleeping and they were ignoring it and just like suing people.
Yeah, they hoped it would go away.
Yeah,
go away.
But like, in like our little city of Lethbridge, there's a bunch of small businesses getting picked up by a small management company, and then they'll buy like say 10 bars, 4 bakeries, and I don't know, a taxi company, say, and then they'll say, we like in our big management and of all our investors, we own all these companies already, so here's the blueprint to your restaurant. This is how you run your restaurant now. And they're like, it makes money or not, that's fine, because we've tried our practice and it's true and it works over here and it works over here. So if we lose that business, whatever, it'll go under. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, this is stupid.
From a label perspective, that's kind of what happens too, right? Like,
I mean, it used like the way labels used to work once upon a time was they understood they would have certain tiers of artists, right? Like you would have like your big earners, right? They would generally make enough money that you could then take a chance on smaller artists, right? And you could develop them over a course of albums or years or whatever.
But again, they're just handing them the blueprint and saying this works.
Sort of, right? And I mean, to a point it did, right? With the way they were running business, like as the labels, right?
But today it won't work.
I mean, but it's a different thing today, right?
Exactly.
Because like I said, like the lines of distribution and marketing and just access to being on like radio playlists and then when video came around, like to get on MTV, right? You weren't just going to create a video at home with the technology available and be able to shop that out to some to something like that,
market,
right? You just wouldn't be able to. They wouldn't pick it up, even if you could make it look good, which would be difficult back then, very difficult. Same with you couldn't press your own vinyl. Back in the day, you know what I mean? You need a whole warehouse and a whole team of guys doing this all day. Like you couldn't deliver it out. You needed them for that. But now that's not there. It's not a thing. And it's opened the door to people that wouldn't necessarily be able to get into the industry, through traditional means. Like, I mean, myself, I just turned 39. I wouldn't necessarily be looked at as like, oh, well, he might be a hot new prospect. It's like, nah, he's gone. But if I do it on my own and I put it out there and shop it well enough, I can potentially find a market and an audience for what I do and maybe hopefully live off of it comfortably someday, right? As is the dream, I think, for everybody. But
it just depends on the level of work you put into it. Like the guy who taught me about the email list thing yesterday, he was already in his I think late 40s to 50s, and he's supporting like 4 kids with his music, and he's been doing that for like 4 years now. So he became like a professional musician in his 40s or 50s. So this thing you have to be like, I don't know, in your early 20s to make it. Is also not like
it's not the
true anymore.
Which is nice. Like I said, it opens the door to an even wider range of people who, I mean, realistically, like as you get older, you have more experiences in life and hopefully should have a little more to actually say. You become a better musician, a better songwriter, a better storyteller, a better whatever. And like I said, you have good and bad things that have happened to you that would shape your life experiences. So hopefully, it would just, bring better music out and allow more people to get out there and
be discovered, right?
Discovered. Yeah. I mean, the thing that I always hear people go, oh, well, but back in the day, they had record labels had money. You could really, somebody could get really big. Like, you don't see any big, bands, for example, anymore. There's no Guns N' Roses or Led Zeppelin. It just takes over the world. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's true.
There's like niches of that getting taken over the world, though.
But that's the thing. Like, I don't think you'll ever see that again. Like, it's not going to be to the same level where there's just like one giant, Metallica.
Well, I don't think we're going to get another Slash, right? Like, I don't think we're going to have another.
Yeah, maybe not. But it's like, but then you'll have smaller groups of people that are really heavily invested into something and can support it, and it can be its own thing. That, like, I'm always amazed by like the different subgroups of like musical fans and genres for things that I didn't even realize were popular. Yeah, you know what I mean? You can get insulated a little bit in your own bubble. Like you've introduced me to a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have, like the hip hop, R&B side of things, that it's like, I to some level I knew it was there and I knew it was popular, but it's not something that I thought of like, oh, these artists are, they're huge. They have, millions and millions and millions of fans. It's stuff that I don't even hear unless I go out of my way. So it makes me think how much other stuff is like that really out there, where it's like, you might not know that this is big, but like somebody could be making, a couple $1 million a year doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
And, they've got fans all over the world and all this stuff, but it's not going to be, the normies, regular folk, that aren't tuned into whatever that is, aren't going to even know that it exists. And that's possible now.
Yeah.
Whereas before it really wasn't. Right. So I think that's your trade-off. For you don't have these big giant bands or these big whatever artists outside of the real, pop world anymore. But
it's a wider bureaucracy.
But now it's kind of like it's kind of gone like this. Like the top is a little lower, but the bottom is a little higher than where it once was. So, and I think that's great personally. So
I don't even enjoy like big concerts anymore, because it's not just because of the money, but it's usually so like an arena is so packed full of people, and you can like really enjoy the music. It's mostly shoving and like trying not to fall down and get trampled.
Trying to step on people.
That's fair.
Like when like last year we went to see Tool play here, which was a big arena show, and I really enjoyed it. It was the first time I saw them play, and they were great. But a month later, we went to see Jerry Cantrell at a small club, and I had so much more fun seeing him and like being very close to him. We were also like waiting for him back like after the concert at his tour bus, but he was already in there and didn't want to come out. But we got to talk to his band member, his bandmates, and that was a much better gig than like the huge arena show, where like before and afterwards we had to wait like an hour because we were carrying backpacks, and they didn't want to let us in with those, and told us to put them to give them to the wardrobe guys. But they were like around the place on the other side of the place, and there was like a huge line of people waiting there because so many people were carrying bags and
stuff. It
was such a hassle. And smaller concerts are much better in my opinion.
There's a band from Ontario here called the Glorious Sons.
Yep.
And like I saw them when they were a bar band, and then I saw them in their first few like theater tours where there's like 1,500 like 2,200 people, and then the biggest I've seen them I think was 4,000 people, and they've played in town here in the stadium, and I just can't bring myself to go. I've had tickets both times too, it's just wasted the money, but I can't bring myself to go. I just know that like he's jumped off the stage and I've caught him. And I know I won't experience that at the stadium. You know what I mean? I've had his sweat pouring down my face before. And I won't get at the stadium. So it's just like I can't bring myself to go and be watch a theater of the same band that I've served. I've handed beers to the guy, right?
No, that's fair.
It's different.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Virtuoso thing? I kind of saw you posting about this the other day.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like I discovered Polyphia only last year, and I didn't know how big they had gotten.
Yeah, that's another
And
example of that, because something kind of niche and a little more
yeah, it's
obscure.
it's
That's
it's it's so special. Like it's like trap music, but with guitars and no vocalists. And they were even like getting flack for that when they started to get a foot in the door. Like
mm.
the first label they were in contact with, they just sent them an email without any punctuation, just saying, "Where's the vocalist?"
Oh,
So they had to figure out this out on their own, and they made it. And I bet there's like a shit ton of labels now who are like thinking, shit, we missed out. We should have
mm.
taken those guys in
I think they did.
when
They
they were
have done
still
at least
smaller.
a couple of tracks with vocalists, though. I think, haven't they?
Yeah, now,
Now,
but
like,
always like
like originally they
features,
just
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
collaborations, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But that's where I'm saying with like that, like the here's your blueprint, and if you don't fit it, then like you'll fall off, and it is what it is. We'll move on to the next one. Like that's a quintessential example of that, right? Like, hey man, like we don't have a vocalist, and then it doesn't match the blueprint, so they say no, we're good. They shelve it, and then now everyone regrets it because it popped off. It did well, right?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if you compare that to my example of the small business, like you don't need to be the next Walmart. You just need to be a successful small business. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't need to be this blanket thing. Like you can look at your niche and see what you can make of it, right? But anyway, keep talking.
No, that's right. I mean, and like if we stick to that comparison, like a smaller business, you have much more control over the quality of your product.
Yeah.
So if you're a small bakery, it's easier to make like good bread or whatever.
Thing.
And if you become like a franchise and you got so many different places to take care of, the quality will suffer. You see that with places like McDonald's. I can only imagine, like back in the 50s when they were just starting out, their burgers probably tasted very good.
They were probably
In the
real
beginning.
burgers. Yeah.
Yeah, real food.
They probably were real food.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, man. It's interesting. The virtuoso thing I wanted to ask, like, because your music is very guitar driven, right? Like you're a lead guitar player, you write a lot of melodies with your guitar. And so like, did that help when you released 2 instrumental tracks first instead of having vocal tracks, and then everyone comes and listens and it's like guitar heavy? In the vein of the virtuoso thing, because you're a great guitar player, and I think that's important. But like, I could see people being like, if you set them up for the wrong example, I could see that going the wrong way, right?
Yeah, I was thinking. I was also telling that to the modern musician guys when I joined. I told them, yeah, I'm not really just doing one thing. I've got instrumental songs, and I've got songs with vocals, and even these all sound different from each other because my approach is that of, let's say, like Led Zeppelin. You do a funk song here, then you do a bit of blues stuff, mix it in there, and and they were like, "Hey, this is great. You'll actually get to like to find more people from different or with different tastes, which can be a good thing because they can like your fans can interact with each other and get to know each other, and then I always see that with my One Track Thursday post in the Facebook group where people can post their current favorite songs, and these songs often are the genres are often so different from each other, but people comment on each other's posts and say, hey, I haven't heard that in a while, or this is interesting, thanks for sharing that. And so for me, this is actually beneficial instead of slowing me down or like complicating things.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess there's kind of 2 schools of thought on that. You cast a wider net, like you're saying, if you have a wider range of stuff, and then there's some people that say, well, find the thing that people like the most and hammer that over and over and over and keep giving them what they want, but I think, I guess, you gotta balance that out as an artist, right? Where it's
sure. I mean, I myself prefer listening to more versatile bands. Like I as much as I like Polyphia, when I put on one of their albums, I usually and it has nothing to do with the quality of their music. It's just my taste. But I usually get bored after like 6 songs because they kind of sound alike. I mean, that's their style, and this is a good thing. But so, like Alice in Chains, for instance, they also have their style or like sound, but they can throw a country song in there, and you can put on like Jar of Flies and have all these wonderful acoustic songs and ballads, and then you put on like Dirt, and you can rock out to that. And even on Dirt there's more like slower songs, and or Guns N' Roses, for instance. Like if you put on the Illusions albums, there's a blues song there, then there's acoustic song there, and then your 10-minute piano ballad, and that like these bands have been so influential on my sound as well. So I couldn't just release like an EP or an album with like 6 or 12 songs that all sound alike.
Same, yeah, I'm with you there. Like when you're talking about Guns N' Roses, and like I'm a huge Guns N' Roses fan.
We used to cover
me too.
A couple of our bands we've formed.
over the years. But like I grew up with them like as a kid. Like my uncle was all about Guns N' Roses, and my stepdad was all about Aerosmith. So
This here is a Slash signature Gold Top from 2008.
Oh man, I wanted one of those real bad at one point. Real bad, but
I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah. So no, I feel you there. Like I think oddly enough, my favorite Gunner song is probably like Estranged.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I was playing that religiously like when I started like in my first 2 years of playing the guitar. And I had this crappy Fender, I think it was called Rock Pro. It was supposed to be a Valve amp, but it wasn't. Like, and like playing these long notes with a sustain was like really difficult with that amp. But I just kept trying. And sometimes I cranked it up, even though I was still living with my mom back then, and that became a bit of a problem. But this song has like these long notes and the phrasing and melody that has shaped my sound for sure.
And that's definitely a track that is not what you would call like a commercial format.
10 minutes.
10 minutes of like piano, guitar, just all those
so many different parts.
So many different parts, and it's like it's so dramatic, and it's so like but it's great. It's just amazing. But just a wide range even within that one track of all these different these different sounds and textures, So
do you remember the music video?
Yes, I do.
There's this Black Beauty that Slash plays during the first solo, the first solo from the second half.
Okay.
And I have actually touched that guitar.
Oh, really?
Because it's in Hard Rock Cafe in Paris, and when I was there, I saw it. And you're not supposed to touch these, but I was quickly checking for staff, and when there was nobody there, it was like
it's rock and roll, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Spoils of rock and roll, we used to say.
God, they were so big at that point in time that if I'm not mistaken, David Geffen rented them
a house,
aircraft carrier. No, the aircraft carrier video, like
really?
From like the military.
Wow,
like the Navy, they rented this damn thing. Like you can only imagine what that would have cost. To set up and shoot on that just so Axl Rose can jump off of the thing.
And like all the security and all the like.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like
checking
when you think of like what you would have had to do to get that done, like I don't have that kind of budget for my videos, unfortunately.
I got a gimbal.
Let me charge my laptop real quick because I'm almost out of battery.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick smoke break. We'll just be 1 minute.
Okay.
You're wearing in-ears. I thought you were doing this without headphones. I was wondering.
Oh no, I got my in-ears in. Yeah, I'm pretty fortunate for these. They're West Tones. Have you ever heard of West Tone?
No.
They're 5 drivers, but like as a vocalist, man, I've never had something sound like this.
Yeah.
Never. Like music sounds like shit, but like your DAW, your recording and everything sounds sounds like heaven. It's unbelievable.
Cool.
Especially as a vocalist. They're very like 1K, like 1.2K kind of present, which is like where like all the scratchy part of my voice comes from anyways. So I can like scream and stuff, and I don't hurt myself as much as I do with my fullbacks or anything else on. So,
yeah. I always found it hard recording with these when I was singing. Still,
it's tough, eh?
It's also hard to be on point with wearing headphones. Also, like Slash is also a guy who never records using headphones.
They built his studio so that he could listen back to it, right?
Yeah, I would love to do that myself one day, because I think headphones they don't sound great. And
don't you have an isolation cab for your guitar amp?
No.
Oh,
I sit right next to the amp when I record.
Bro, because
it's really loud.
I'll send you like some like at home cab stuff, because you could like just put it in the basement in another room and then just track it in your room with the speakers on, right?
Oh yeah, no, I'm tracking everything at my rehearsal space. I couldn't do it here. Yeah.
Either way, put it in an isolated box, turn it against the wall, put your Royer, your 57 against it, and it'll be like a third, maybe even less of the volume at least. So then you can just play it through your speakers here, and the microphones won't pick anything else up. They're in a box with your speaker.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you ever watched Tim Pierce's channel? Like,
maybe.
That sounds familiar. I don't know.
He's a session guitarist from LA, and he has a great home studio. He has like this. He calls it his cockpit above his garage, and where he records his videos, and he has like tons of amps there and effects and all his recording equipment. But his cabinet and the microphones are downstairs in his garage. They're also isolated, so his neighbors won't complain.
Yeah.
And he's doing his studio work from his home now, and it sounds great. Like everything he does sounds perfect.
The thing is, man, is like the minute you get a Marshall, like a 50 watt or 100 watt, like you got to gun it to make it sound good.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like you can hot plate them, but it's not the same as having it on like 8 or 9, like on the master. Oh man, nothing sounds like that.
Yeah.
But no one can tolerate that either.
Well, it's just you got to have a good room set up to deal with that if you're gonna run into that volume all the time. Yeah, God, I think you have a Kemper, right?
Yeah. I use that for live streaming and for practicing here. But my lead and my solo guitar tracks for my recordings are still my Marshall.
Okay.
He's got a Royer and a 57 on it.
Oh
right?
Yeah.
Ribbon, Royal Ribbon.
Yeah. The R121.
Was it 121?
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I've been on a Kemper for years now. I have a small place. I can't. I used to have an actual studio built.
You had everything. You had a Randall. You had a.
Well, I had a Randall ISO cab. I had a little kind of room under my stairs, sort of built into, pop cabs into. Yeah. I had a nice control. I had all that fun stuff before I got divorced. So about 5 years ago. So now I'm much more downsized, and it's like it would be cool to have a tube amp all set up somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's just not feasible now. But yeah, so I got onto the Kemper thing as well.
I think the Kemper is great, but there is still when I play my Marshall, there is a slight difference.
Notice a bit of a difference.
It's more like I don't know. It's more like a feeling, but
response thing.
Yeah. It's more direct.
Sure.
I got you.
I mean, the like amp sims and profiles, all this. It's definitely come. A million miles in the last decade,
right? Yeah.
From what it once was, the old Line 6 pod, the original little kidney bean thing.
I still remember that.
Loving those when they first came out in the late '90s, and people are recording with, oh, this is amazing. Well, it sounds. You listen back now, and you're like, oh man, can't believe people thought this was great.
Yeah.
But compared to that, it's it's a million miles. But yeah, I know what you mean. It's not 100%. There.
But on recordings, I couldn't tell the difference between a Kemper and a proper amp. It's just when you play them.
Sure.
There's still a difference. But like all the rhythm guitars and the bass tracks on my EP, they're also they've been recorded with a Kemper.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's easier. I can do it from here.
Yeah.
Don't have to drive to the rehearsal studio, and can always tweak them. It's great.
Yeah.
I was telling Dave, we were just having a smoke quick about your Facebook group, and like I've been on it for a few weeks now. I really enjoy it. Like I was telling him, because of the time difference. So when I'm cooking breakfast, I get everyone's playlist on the Thursday. So I just start clicking on everyone's videos and listening.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'm like, holy shit, like what is this? Like, and it'll be something like totally out of left field. It'll be something a little heavier than I'm used to, but it's like it's got a groove to it or something. I'm like, wow, like this, like again, it gets really neat. The community side of that, right?
Yeah, and thanks for sharing so many cool posts and stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You know, like it's fun being a part of that stuff when people do it well, because and I'm really bad for this. Like I'll start something, I'm excited, but then I start something else and I don't lose interest, but like I lose focus on it. So it's good to see that you're consistent and everything, you know?
Yeah, I had to learn that if you scroll down to the beginning, like the first couple of posts were just everything I did on my social media. I just reposted it there as well, and it was more about, hey, listen to my like improvisation here and me doing that. But thanks to the Modern Musician guys who were coaching me on that, I learned that you have to be a leader, sort of, and create new like topics and posts, but you also have to get the people involved, and it shouldn't be just about you yourself, but about like building the community and
building.
helping people connect with each other. And yeah, I'm slowly getting the hang of it, and it's fun.
Yeah, nice.
You had a great live stream yesterday where you announced I don't know if I'm allowed to announce this. I can blur this. You're starting your next record, right? Your next EP or next record?
Yeah. Already writing.
Yeah.
Right on.
How's that coming along?
I've got a great ballad that's also, I think, like the music is 4 or 5 years old now, but it was just sitting on my laptop, and through Modern Musician I met this guy Jared. His project is called Pink Honeymoon. He's also doing everything himself, and he writes these great pop rock ballads. Like he has a great sense of melody, and his productions are always top notch, and I really enjoy listening to his music. And he's a great guy. We've been writing back and forth. He once coached me on, I don't know, I still have the video in my replay folder, on a thing for Modern Musician. And yeah, we became fast friends, and now we're doing our first collab, and he's currently writing the lyrics to the music.
Nice.
Awesome.
I just like before we did this. Oh, what's this? Okay, nothing important. Sorry. No, I just recorded the first take of a guitar solo, but I'm still like trying out new stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I I usually approach this like one song per month. So I got like 2 more weeks left to finish this song. And I already came up with a cool riff for the next song, so it's going well.
Nice.
That's good. And then, and you don't have to share too much about this, but like, what's your process of, so you're gonna record or you're gonna write the song over the course of the month. You have like a deadline of the summertime. Sometime you said that it's gonna start out, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like the video in mind in that month that you wrote the song, or does that all come later?
That'll come later. I mean, there's only so many times you can get away with like you just being there and at a cool place performing. So for the next couple of videos, I have to get real creative. Like I still want to do the video for Mirage, and we're probably doing that in 2 or 3 weeks. We're shooting this down at our basement because it's a huge room where we can set up Victoria's pole teacher's portable pole, and then we'll film her dancing and do some glow in the dark makeup. And there's also like glow in the dark guitar strings that I can put on my guitar, and we'll figure something out. Yeah, but there's still this video, and maybe 1 or 2 more lyric videos, maybe one for Safe and Sorry or Hunt for Treasure. And yeah, I still don't know, or I don't know yet what to do for the next EP.
I gotcha. It's
But I
building.
got plenty of time. Yeah, almost a year.
Oh, that's good. Did you want to, like, I do want to take a second and mention in your live stream, you did a really good job saluting to the late Jeff Beck, who just passed away at the beginning of the weekend. Do you want to try playing your guitar here and see if it works? Do you want to try just sending it to me later? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, we could try.
No, I was just it was cool to hear you play that stuff and to like think back on like, you know, one of the more melodic, like I guess like vocal direct guitar players, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it was like, you know, like forget the words from time to time. Like my guitar is going to tell you this story, right? And I think that's like you don't see it as much.
Well, that's the mark of most great guitar players over history. Really, it's you can sing leads a lot of it, which is why you see someone. I'll always remember. I've probably told you this story. I tell everybody this story. I work at a music store, right? So I always end up telling this story to people. But years ago, it was at a different music store. One of the teachers there, he would always put on DVDs of different bands or guitar players or whatever. So one day he pulled up it was like a Guitar World or one of those was a big magazine back in the day, website now kind of thing. They had like this big outdoor festival sort of thing showcasing all these different guitar players, probably down in Los Angeles or something, right? The big crowd, big outdoor crowd. And I remember just walking upstairs and seeing what was going on. Well, what's this? Oh, it's this Guitar World thing. So John Petrucci's up there, and amazing guitar player, right?
Yeah.
Like fantastic player, right? And it's not that he's not one of those. He's very good. I wouldn't put him in like the noodle or like Yngwie Malmsteen, just whatever category. But he, very technical and he's showing tapping techniques. He's showing sweep pick. He's doing all this stuff, just putting on this clinic basically. People are, they're guitar players, right? A lot of people that, they obviously appreciate what's going on. You're getting this very nice. Oh, okay. Okay. And, all right. So he's finishing up. Next up. All right, everybody, give it up for Slash. Slash walks out, literally just plays the Sweet Child of Mine intro. Erupts in applause and people are going insane. The only thing I could think was, God, I would hate to be John Petrucci sitting there right now, who just put on a master class of almost anything that you can perform on an electric guitar at this point.
Yeah.
And no one cared. Slash walks out and plays a 30-year-old riff that everybody learns in their first 2 years of playing.
Yeah.
And the place is nuts. But that was the thing. You could sing that song. It was, you know what I mean? Like it landed. It was one of those, it's a timeless, like, it just is what it is. You can sing along to that. It's
this is what so many people underestimate. It's not just about your technical prowess, but also about your ability to connect with your audience. I mean, Sweet Child of Mine was the catalyst for me to become a guitarist in the first place. I was already 18 years old.
Yeah.
And I was interested in music, but I was more like a singer or like a rap rock guy and writing lyrics and stuff like that. Yeah. And then like one night I just saw the Sweet Child of Mine music video on MTV for the first time ever. And like just Slash being there and like you didn't see his face and he was like playing the Les Paul and the melodies and like the wildness of the performance, especially by Axel and all that was like, okay, now I gotta try this. And yeah, Sweet Child of Mine was I'll always be grateful to this song for getting me up and trying this. Yeah.
No, that's
and I mean, Slash is like playing his performances are sometimes here, sometimes there. They vary.
Yep.
But I mean, when he wasn't in Guns N' Roses, and they had these great, phenomenal guitar players like Buckethead or Bumblefoot and like Richard Fortus, who's still in there. But whenever they played a solo or a riff, it sounded different, and it even if they played it note for note, that's
not the same.
That's the thing. It was not the same, and like, yeah, this has so much to do with a person's feel and like influences and just the overall person themselves,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's funny you mentioned that, but the most recent example that I've seen now is the Pantera reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Zakk Wylde, amazing guitar player, and really, if there was, I don't know if there's anybody else that could have stepped into that and had people be okay with it. First of all, so I get it, but seeing some of the videos, it's like, yeah, he's playing the songs, but it's not the same. Like Dimebag Darrell had a certain
phones in the hands, right?
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it's well to some degree, like just that style, right? Like it doesn't translate the same to another guy, even if he's one of his best buddies who's playing his riffs the best he can play them. I mean, Zakk Wylde knows how to learn other people's songs, right? He's made a career of it. If you can learn Randy Rhoads riffs, right? It's
sure.
But it's like you said, it just doesn't have that. It's the same. It's not Slash with Guns N' Roses. It's not it's not Dimebag Darrell there playing with Pantera. It just doesn't sound right. It'd be somebody getting up and playing a Van Halen tribute.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's not
okay,
quite right.
You might be able to play Eruption note for note, but it's not the same as how Eddie played it. It still doesn't sound, you know what I mean? Yeah, it loses something. So yeah.
And it's not only like with guitarists. I just recently watched a documentary on Led Zeppelin's Live Aid reunion, 1985.
Okay.
Without John Bonham,
yeah,
they couldn't pull it off. They had some great drummers there. This black guy whose name I forgot, and Phil Collins.
Okay.
I don't really like the guy. I don't really like his music, but he's a great drummer.
Great drummer.
But Bonham was like one of a kind, and like through his prowess on the instrument, Plant and Page could often get away with their limitations. Page playing a little sloppy here and there, or Plant not hitting the high notes as he's supposed to, and that really proved that once an integral part of your band is gone, it's probably better to leave it be.
Almost, yeah.
Well, I think there's a difference between how do I put this? So I was just talking about Prism. They're a band from Canada. Their lead singer died in the early 90s, late 80s. And then the band had a hiatus. A bunch of them split off, did some other stuff. But then the original bass player brought the band back together and he started singing it. But he said, I want to carry on the dream, the legacy that Ron had before he died. I want to make sure that, if he were still alive, we would still be doing this. So I just want to pay tribute to that. But he makes it very clear. He's like, we are not trying to recreate what was. He's like, we're trying to tribute to, right? It's a difference. You know?
I mean, in that case, it's a tribute. I guess I don't know. There are maybe some examples where it's sort of worked. I was just thinking AC/DC might be one.
Yeah, sure, but also Bon Scott. Whenever I want to listen to AC/DC, I tend to go back to the Bon Scott.
I know most people are kind of that way if they're AC/DC fans. I get it, but I mean, they did have some some of their biggest
Brian Johnson's
stuff, right? I mean,
sure.
Back in
Thunderstruck is amazing. It's one of my favorite songs.
It's just Bon Scott, man. He hit different.
Well, it was different. Yeah, it was different.
He hit different.
I guess then you got to wonder. It's like, what would Back in Black have sounded like with Bon Scott? Would it have been better? Would it have been? Would it have been the same thing? Would it have been?
No, it would have been different. I guess.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I guess Metallica is another one. Cliff Burton going from Cliff Burton to Jason Newsted. It's
even.
Well, I mean, but that was
earlier.
That was so early.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas
we never knew what Metallica would have sounded with Dave.
Yeah,
because Kurt has been playing with them from their first record.
Yeah, he was on he was Mustaine says he stole a lot of his stuff from him.
Yeah, but Mustaine.
Yeah.
I've read the book. I'm a big Mustaine guy, and this is me speculating. I don't think that he would have been pushed to the musician that he is today if that didn't happen to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He was
that's still driving him.
Still driving.
To this day.
Still, every video he still can't help but talk about Lars and James and how they did it wrong in 1983.
You know what I mean?
That is what it is.
That's why I gotta stop following. I was like, yeah, man, I've heard this.
So that one's a little different, right? I mean, that is what it is, and he's still around to talk about it. But yeah, without Cliff Burton, it's like you think, oh, okay, where would they have released the Black album? You know, And it's, you can debate whether, some people love and some people hate that album, depending on where
Yeah, I mean, there's
you
so
know.
many like purist
Yeah,
fans who say Metallica only made 4 albums,
yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
four, and then
Yeah.
they ignore the rest. But I like the Black Album and Load and Reload.
Me too. Me
Pretty
too.
good.
I mean, I look at like Load and Reload almost as kind of a different band by that point. But,
Yeah.
like you said, but if Cliff Burton didn't die, would they have gone down that road? Would they have been as big? Would they even be a band still now? Would they have just hung
Yeah.
it up after, we got to a certain point, and maybe they would, maybe they'd still, would they made it to like Slayer level of fame and nobody would really know Metallica outside the metal community? I don't know.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
What would have been, but it's definitely was a different band. Very different.
I think like a good example of it working is, and there's probably lots of people who would disagree with me, but I think Alice in Chains pulled it off great.
Yeah,
because when Lane died, they went underground for a while and did nothing. But William Duvall is I love their newer records. Like The Devil Put Dinosaurs here is probably my favorite Alice in Chains like album. Like the Jar of Flies EP is still my favorite thing to go to, but as an album, I think The Devil Put Dinosaurs here is just fantastic, and I'm so grateful for Duvall and the band still going on, because they're the last like real grunge band that's still going strong and doing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Pearl Jam, but people call Pearl Jam like the Eagles of grunge, and I can see why. I like their first 3 to 4 records, but after that, I lost interest.
That's even generous. I like 10. The first 10. I like 10, and then like a collection of a few songs from every other album, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but
but Alice in Chains, to me, like they had over the past couple of years, they have become sort of like my favorite band. Like they're at the top there with maybe Pink Floyd and Guns N' Roses, but I was so grateful for seeing Jerry Cantrell back in June, and I'm looking forward to the next Alice in Chains album and tour. I hope they're also coming to Europe soon. And without Duvall, they probably wouldn't have done it. So
I'll have to check it. I really haven't I haven't paid a lot of attention to them in a long time. I was a huge grunge fan back in late 90s
when grunge was cool.
Well, I mean,
the first time,
just as it was, I got into it. I was just a few years too young to be like right in there.
Yeah,
like 96, I think, is when I got like big into like Nirvana, and then like Alice in Chains was the second one after that, and so on and so forth. But I haven't really paid attention to what they've been doing over the last couple of albums. I remember when the first one, I can't remember what it was called. With
Black Gives Way to Blue.
Is that okay? Yeah. I remember that and thinking, I was like, it's kind of Alice in Chainsy, but it didn't really, I don't know. Yeah,
it'll grow on you once you give it a chance.
Okay.
It's the production quality is supreme, and the songs are great. There's lots of like really prog stuff on there with odd meters and unusual like structure. But if you really want to like an easy to ease in there and get into it right away, try listening to The Devil Put Dinosaurs here. That's such a great album.
Okay, I'll have to give that a listen.
I have played that one to death.
I've got a few like that. Do you have go-tos that you use for reference for your music, like how you want it sonically to sound?
Yeah, some of it like that would be a great example, like this album. Also like the Illusions albums for sure, when it comes to like loudness and the dynamics of everything, and like from a more modern, I mean, that Alice in Chains record is only 10 years old now. That, to me, that's pretty modern.
in the rock world, that's still considered modern.
Yeah. I'm not really a fan of like overproducing stuff and like editing the drums too much and then like mixing it too loud. I'm still like more of a like early '90s guy
Yeah.
when it comes to the sonic aspect of it.
I gotcha. You're kind of like that too,
Oh,
right?
very much. Yeah. You and I think we have a lot of crossover in the stuff we're into. Yeah.
Well, I sent you. It was.
We're almost exactly the same age.
Oh, are we? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm 38.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just turned 39 in November. So yeah. So we'd come from the kind of that same time period of. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's good to see.
Yeah.
I knew that this was gonna go well. Are you on a timeline or anything, Phry? You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. Yeah, no, it's cool because like I get to sit in the middle and hear it. And I say this to lots of people. I get to hear Dave's music and I get to hear how he talks about it and how he tells others about it. But at the end of the day, I get to listen to it all the time and it's kind of neat. And so the one I sent you was an old master, but once we got his new stuff tracked out, we'll show you something.
Knows what.
Great track, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah.
Which one did I send you? I think I sent you Pinnacle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The one with the horn at the beginning.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, man, it's fun. I'm excited. You know, I'm gonna kind of backstep on some of the stuff I said earlier. I am excited that like talented musicians are becoming cool again. Because like, you know, like there's still your radio rock and there's still like your like that niche, but people get excited, man. I got a whole like crowd of people on here that come and watch me just freak out over drummers when drummers are like animals, right? And it's good to see that again, man. I think people should be talented. I think guitar players should have space to make a bunch of noise.
Well, I mean, truth be told, like, and I saw this from working in like at a music store here. I manage a store in town. Over the course of the pandemic, while everybody was like locked down, and I think this is something that you're going to see pay dividends over the next probably 10 years here. Like, I think there's actually going to be like a huge wave of well, I mean, guitar-based music. Truth be told, the amount of guitars that were sold, like, and I know this from like at least like by Canadian standards, and I'm assuming it's probably not so.
No, it's a worldwide thing.
Right?
I've heard the same thing.
Yeah. Because school programs, they had to change things up because they didn't want to do brass, woodwind, things you had to blow, you know, that needed a lot of cleaning, and, right? You know, everybody's all paranoid about it. So it's like, okay, so that's gone. So what can you do for music? Well, it's a lot easier to service and maintain and clean a guitar, you know, more sanitary. You can put a mask on, whatever. So a lot of these schools switched over to guitar programs. A lot of people at home started picking up. I know we sold guitars and keyboards, like and recording and podcasting gear at a ridiculous, like if you look at like the sales from before for some of this stuff, and it was just like it went straight up
incrementally,
like right up, so I think what you're going to see is over the course of time, more people are having an appreciation for playing instruments again, which might change people's taste for what they're actually going to consume for music, because they, you know, when you know how to play, then you can understand, oh, that guy's a good guitar player, that guy's a good drummer, right? I know what it takes to do that now. Okay, that's something. But I think you're also going to see more of a resurgence of the younger generation coming up, which up to this point, like my whole, you know, and your age as well, right? Like there's been this trend more towards, you know, electronic music or never kind of moving away from right. And
also, if like, this is why I always was having trouble finding musicians for my old project. People like from our generation weren't into virtuosity. Like putting a lot of work into your honing your skills and becoming great, because like I always hated indie music because it's just and then these radio friendly melodies, and to me it's I call it toothless rock. I mean, no offense to people who like this, but I like my rock like heavy and
I like pointing guitars. I like Les Pauls. I like
counterculture.
Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, rock's supposed to be counterculture, and indie was just so radio friendly and so tame and boring.
Elevator
sounding
music.
Just weak sounding music. I get you.
That's why
so I'm glad that like the next generation that's now coming up, they're into Led Zeppelin. they're into like Metallica and Maiden and all that
It's coming
stuff.
back
Yeah,
around again. Yeah, the harder edge to rock. It's almost like, kind of had to go away for a little while
to be appreciated,
right? And then now it's like you said, there was a whole generation of that.
Yeah,
just this real like kind of stuff.
you could learn that in like a year. Yeah,
exactly. And the whole attitude behind it. It's like, we want to sound bad. That's what's cool, is not knowing how to play. It's like, now it's kind of turning around. No, let's tighten it up a little. Let's make stuff with a little bit more, like you said, more teeth, a little more edge, a little grit to it, which I think is also a sign of the times too. Like the world, the way it is, it seems like
there's a little more angst that wants out.
Yeah, there's been real things that have happened that are still happening around the world, and it's like, it's not sunshine and rainbows. And I think music is going to reflect that again, where it gets a little bit more like, all right, here's, things have been kind of crappy and crummy and people aren't having a great time. So here's more of like where you come from when you have that happening, which is traditionally the best times for music, honestly. Like when the world's in a horrible place, that's when artists and musicians tend to produce the stuff that's the most meaningful and the most that you come back to time after time, year after year, and you listen to, oh man, I could feel what that guy was going through there, because it wasn't this superficial, I'm having a great day, I'm going to a party, let's all hang out at the beach, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, that's great when you're having margaritas on the beach, but for the rest of your life, like that doesn't it doesn't hit you the same way as
no value to it.
No value to it, no lasting anything.
Yeah. But what's exciting is even like to the virtuoso conversation, like people are still getting down with like cool guitar solos, cool guitar riffs, bass players that are animals, keyboard players that are animals, even take the vocals out.
Well, and the thing like the thing I've noticed from watching some of this reactions and stuff with you occasionally is guitar coming back into popular music and arrangements, because you didn't hear guitar solos or anything remotely close to that. It was even if it was kind of a rock-ish song, if it had a little bit of that too, the breakdown would be a guy showing up to rap.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like something like that. It wouldn't be, oh, here's a lead, And now you're even seeing in some pop music, where it's like
lots of funk in there, like cool guitars.
That sort of stuff for sure. And then you're even starting to see some of the more rock stuff. The one that really got me that one time was what was it, Sweetie, or who was it that did that? She had a whole band with her, and it was like a metal song.
Was it something I showed you?
Yeah, it was. I was on the reaction with you, and I was like, "What?" I was not expecting that at all.
I'll have to go back and look.
It blew my mind. Because I was expecting just a standard like R&B kind of hip hop bass track, and it wasn't at all. It was guitar, bass, drums. I think you had 2 guitar players, and it didn't even have a standard verse, chorus thing going. Like it was really different. I was like, what the hell is this? And like, this is like a pop music. It was like it was for an MTV thing or something.
Was it oh, you know who it was?
I can't remember now, but yeah, but like for me, I was like, this is like a metal song. And this is like this doesn't belong in with this wouldn't have happened like 10 years ago or 15 years ago. You know what I mean? I wouldn't have turned on MTV or something to see that on there.
Band,
not even like, but I mean, even if it was a one-off, it's like that's a good sign of where popular
the times they are changing.
Exactly.
But it's a sensory thing, because like I got a big Beyonce crowd in here, and we watch a lot of these concerts, and that's just a metal band with Beyonce singing on top. Their guitar player gets 10-minute guitar solos in the night.
Sure.
On her.
I mean, I think Rihanna did it first when she hired Nuno Bettencourt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
I would even go to that show because I fucking love Nuno Bettencourt. Like
Absolutely.
Extreme is also one of my favorite bands of all time.
I was gonna say that's like Michael Jackson hiring both Eddie Van Halen and Slash at different points, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like the
crossover is cool.
The pop music is almost coming back around to kind of what that was, which is I like seeing that personally. I like seeing
me too.
Yeah. Even if it's a pop song and the guitar player just walks out and starts shredding for a seconds and just, okay, great.
I mean, there used to be a time where pop wasn't like a bad word, when I listen to stuff even from the mid 90s, like Seal, Kiss from a Rose. Stuff like that. That was fantastic, phenomenal music. Like also very complicated arrangements and unusual harmonies, and I miss that. I mean, I'd love to listen to more contemporary pop music, because when you do it good, it's just as it can be just as real as like an underground rock thing, or like rock in general, or blues or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like that song specifically, it's like you could translate that into a hard rock song easily, you know, but you could also translate it into other genres because it's a really well written song.
Yeah, like I saw this dude named John Bellion talking about this. He was saying, like, you know, he'll write a song and it'll sound like a big 808 heavy dance song in his drive-in, and he's got really emotional lyrics. You know, the one that stands out to me is he says, "I have skeletons in my closet, but you still hang stuff." And it's just like, oh, that's pretty good, right? But like, it's just dance song. But then when he performed it to show all the musicians, it was a piano and string ballad.
Yeah,
and it sounded just as freaking good as the pop song. And I was like, so what he said was, good music is good music, man. But how you play it.
You know what's not going to translate like that? All that what do they call it? The cicada drum beat, like like every time I go to the tattoo shop, like and
the trap beat stuff,
the trap beat stuff, where it's just like literally like 45 minutes of what's same song. When I started breaking it down, because I'm laying there getting, you know, and I'm just and I'm like going through, okay, so what is this song? Okay, I hear the same hi-hat beat, just at a slightly different tempo in every one. You got the same 808 kick snare pattern. Then you've got a bass line that's almost the same, but just slightly different. And then you have some melody over top of it. And it's like, it could be like a little string pattern, or it could be, or it could be like a synth, or
saxophone sometimes.
Whatever, right? But it's like, and it's so formulaic that it's like, okay, here's this piece over top of this. And then you've got the, you know, whatever the vocal is over, which, you know, some hip hop thing. And it's usually pretty, okay, whatever. It's not like high quality hip hop, that's for sure.
It's not the stuff we listen to on this channel.
But what I'm saying is, like, that stuff, there's gonna be no staying power for that. There's no like, you can't turn one of those songs into something else. Like, it just is what it is, and it's very like. And this isn't me just like, you know, old man, you know, music today. You know, these kids. It's just
there's so many kids that also hate that stuff.
Well, it's just, it's so it's like I said, I could listen. I'm listening for 45 minutes straight of just like, this is the same over and over. Like, and it really was from one to the next, where it almost doesn't change. Like, it's almost in the same keys too. It's like, must be the same guy pumping out a lot of this stuff, because it's like, this is so like, all right, here's my formula for how I do this. I crank them out and I sell them to people. I crank them out and I sell them to people.
Right.
And that's what
I hear that stuff at my gym where I train. Because they changed their, like, it's mandatory for, they're like a chain, like a franchise thing, but they all have to play the same music. They have their own radio station, and they're only allowed to play that station, and it's all just the same. I mean, when I joined that gym like almost 10 years ago, there was more like, it was a bit more versatile. I discovered bands like Muse through through that, because I heard like what Uprising, and I knew about Muse, but I was like, hey, this is cool. Or have you heard of Morchiba? It's a band from England. They're also great, like kind of trip hoppy, with a great female singer. And I discovered so many cool stuff just from being at the gym. But with their new radio station, it all sounds the same. It's always auto-tune crap and like these trap beats, and it's. And I don't like, when I work out, I never bring my phone, because I don't like that. And I could maybe just like put in some earplugs and train with my music on, but I don't like doing that. So I have to endure this.
I like being aware of my surroundings too. But like when I was big into weight training, like when I was bodybuilding and stuff, man, like my ears were like about to bleed from how loud I had to have my music. I couldn't stand whatever they're playing in the gym.
Oh, I couldn't either. I'd always
have like Megadeth or like Alter Bridge or something, just something killing me so I could do my deadlifts. Like you know. But that, like, again, it seems like that's kind of coming back a little bit.
Well, like I said, I think I think the trend is going in the right direction. And like I said, from what I just see from online and just in person for the stuff that we're selling at the store. It's like there's a shift that's kind of moving back toward, like, the electronic stuff's not going to go away.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, I've gotten more into electronic music over the last couple of years than I ever had before. And
when it's done good, it's good.
When it's done good, I really like certain metal stuff that's kind of infused with, like, I'm a big Amaranth fan, and stuff like that, right? Some different symphonic stuff that's kind of drifted more into electronic, like Within Temptations, kind of in that. They're very symphonic originally, but now they kind of have more that electronic base, but it's still heavy, right? And it's still it's so I have, like I said, I have a more of an appreciation for it, but like you said, when it's done really well, and then it's like then there's something to it and I can get behind it. But just that cookie cutter. But I guess that's like anything, every genre of music.
Yeah, it's like cookie cutter rock, like most of the hair bands from the 80s, they all also sounded the same, and
Careful,
rock got boring for a while there.
I mean, that the same with the last time rock was really big, at least in North America, would have been like the new metal. Late 90s, early 2000s, and you had like Korn and Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, and it's whether you liked it or not, it is what it is. But they were at a certain level, and then as you went down the tiers, it was sort of like getting into those like third generation,
like Crazy Town and stuff
Crazy
like
Town, which is kind of like Firehouse from the 80s. By the time you got to that point, you're like, oh man, this stuff is done. Like it is played out. Like we're at the bottom of the barrel here now. So.
I grew up on Limp Bizkit, and they I mean, I still think, apart from like Fred Durst, it's a great band because the music. Wes Borland is a fantastic guitarist.
Animal, man.
Yeah, Sam Rivers is a great bass player, and John Otto is a great drummer, and also DJ Lethal. They're all great, but
if you put a different vocalist in there, you would have had one tight band. Like I mean, like, because rhythm, like their rhythm section is like untouchable. They were amazingly tight. It's just that Fred was such a character, but that's also why they got so big, because he was a character.
Yeah, sure.
He played a role, right? He knew what he was doing. He admits it now, and it's like, it worked. They made their money. They did what they did. And
have you guys heard their last project?
Little bits
came
of it.
out a year ago.
Yeah. I don't know. It wasn't quite the same.
Oh, bro, it's so heavy. So it's like, it's programmed drums, but what I've learned over time is like Otto probably played the drums, and then they just took the sections they like. Perfect from there. So like, I do think that it was a played beat. It's just like, you can tell it's perfect, but my God, it hits. Oh, it's nasty.
I mean, even though I'm more into like from a production point of view, I'm more into like the early to mid 90s sound, when like I love Limp Bizkit's production, like the heavy guitars and like it's just a wall. Like the last thing I really dug from theirs was 2009's Gold Cobra. That first song,
I've never heard that.
It's it kicks ass, but it's also now 40 years old.
Oh my God, is it actually 14? Oh, I always forget what year we're in, because I graduated 13 years ago, and that freaks me out.
Yeah.
13, hey?
Only 13, yeah. So like, where did you pull from for your music stuff? Like, what were your kind of influences?
Me? Oh man, I grew up like I was into the Guns N' Roses stuff like when it was kind of happening, because my stepdad was huge into all that. Him and my uncle.
Lucky you.
Yeah, well, my mom was into country, so I got all this like weird mix of like late 80s, early 90s country and hard rock. So it's like this Aerosmith, Guns N' Roses, all that sort of stuff. Like anything from the 80s that you would have been hearing at the, like Bon Jovi, any of that stuff. And then I started getting into a little, heavier. I got into some Black Sabbath and Ozzy. Or I guess I should say I got into like the grunge stuff first from there, right? That was kind of the next progression, your Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all that. And then it went into the Ozzy, Black Sabbath, and then into Metallica, and then things spiraled quickly from there. It was Slayer, Sepultura, Pantera, all that, and also all the Iron Maiden, Priest, that type of thing. And then I got really into the hair metal stuff again a few
Warren.
years back. Oh,
Wasp.
I mean, deep into. I can listen to
Oh,
Winger
yeah.
now. Like, yeah, no problem.
I like
but
that we
yeah.
find that funny. I do like that.
Oh, it's great. I know what it is. It's most of it's shit,
Yeah.
but it's you know, I like.
I mean,
it.
have you watched Peacemaker, the show?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, there's the
It's
soundtrack's great, and
It's
it's all
awesome.
hair metal.
It is, yeah. I love it. I love it. So yeah, no, I love all that sort of stuff. Like I wasn't big into new metal when it was happening because I was already into more kind of extreme metal stuff by that point.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been a big death metal guy, but I kind of got to the edges of it, if that makes sense. Like, a lot of thrash stuff, a lot of yeah, I was big into thrash for a long time. But so by that point, like, you know, you're listening to, like I said, Sepultura or something, and then you go and it's like Limp Bizkit. This isn't what this isn't you know, like, so
timing is what you're saying.
Yeah, I got more of an appreciation for that years afterwards. I was like, oh, wait a minute, what was this as bad as I thought it was? No, wait, actually some of these bands are really good. And then like I said, from a musician standpoint, you're like, wait, some of these bands are really good when you want like a groove based beat instead of just, you know, blast beating away, right?
Also the stuff Wes Borland's doing, like with all the delays and
yeah, it was a different way of playing the guitar.
Tunings. Yeah,
like 1 fret riffs, like nobody was doing that.
Well, they had just a different way of looking at it, you know. And even guys like oh my God, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine, right? The way he approached,
he's on another level. Like he's a DJ.
Right? It's like he turned his guitar into a synthesizer for all intents and purposes, right? But just with guitar effects. So, you know,
and drills and everything.
Well, and whatever, right?
Yeah,
like it was just a different way of using the guitar and getting different sounds. And like I said, at the time, I was a little more resistant to it. But now looking back, I go, okay, yeah, there really was something to this, right? Something that I didn't understand then, but I kind of get now. And then and now I just I like a lot of like a symphonic Euro metal stuff, anything with a female vocalist and heavy riffs and some, you know, strings and shit in the back. I'm good to go on any of that. So but that's me in a nutshell, I guess, right now.
Yeah. No, that's good, man. I dig both the records. I'm looking forward to hearing everything that you guys are going to be putting out here over the next bit. Phry, what are you releasing over the next little bit here?
You mean my next single?
Yeah, I don't know. What do you got on the market? What's coming up over the next month?
Yeah, I'd like to release Mirage, but I have to shoot that video first, so it's kind of but Mirage is definitely a priority, and after that, there's still Hunt for Treasure of the EP that I would like to release. From there on, it's probably only like 6 months until my next EP is coming out.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you're releasing stuff, do you have everything ready then? You got, like, you know, the videos prepped, everything's prepped, or do you release a song and then work on the next one? How do you do it?
Next time, I'll probably release more singles before I'll release the entire EP. Because this is just the way to go now, and I have to, like, it's always like a learning process for me since I've been doing this for only a little more than a year now. But I think before I release the next EP, so that won't probably come out by next November, even though it's ready by then. But I think I'll release like 3 to 4 singles first, and then put the EP out maybe at the start of 2024. Yeah, probably, but it's still it's not set in stone.
That's kind of the nice thing about doing it yourself too, right? Is you can kind of do things on the fly.
You can, but yeah, you're right. I mean, from anything that I've seen, it's singles are the way to go, and then bundle it up and repackage it and sell it again afterwards, basically. Yeah. So.
Yeah, or maybe I'll release the first single in like August or something. Then I have August, September, November, and I can release the EP in December and still have like my my one EP per year thing, which I would like to do. So yeah,
Yeah, right on.
I got you.
All depends.
Go to the washroom. I'm gonna leave you guys to it for a sec.
Yeah.
There goes Jesse.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah. What do you
Go
got
ahead.
planned for the rest of today? You got, I guess, what time is it there? It's probably.
It's 8:30 now.
Oh, okay. So
And I think I'll probably go to bed after this because this is also something that modern musician has told me. Like you have to structure your day accordingly. Like you have to like the founder Michael calls it the 7-figure mindset.
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to get to bed to go to bed early in order to get up early. And I like to get up around 6 o'clock in the morning and then work out, and after that eat something and then practice for 2 to 3 hours, then do like my music promotion stuff, and then in the evening is usually like 2 guitar lessons.
Okay.
And that's my day.
Nice.
So it's very, very rigidly structured at the moment.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that idea. I used to be a night owl, and I found I've been switching over to getting up earlier, and I mean, I kind of had to with life. I have a 9-year-old daughter that's with me half of the time, right? So so with her around, I have to keep a little more of a rigid schedule just for that. But yeah, I've found even when I'm on my own, like I get better work, like a higher quality of work done in the morning.
Right.
If I start in the morning than if I wait later. If that
still
makes
more
sense.
Focused and
more creative even. Like I just if I get at it right away, like I like to get up and get a workout in the morning usually as well, right?
Yeah.
And then if I have to go to my day job, well, then that's what I got to go do. But if I have time off, like I have this next whole week booked off, and I've had the last couple of days, I get up, I start working on. Well, now I'm retracking bass right now, and then I'm going to retrack some rhythm guitars after that, and just being able to just get up and go. Like I get more done, and I think like the quality of work is better starting early. So yeah, 100% with you on that one. There's really is something to structuring your day to get at it earlier rather than pushing it off down the line. Not to say that like sometimes I find like last night I was working like running tracks till like 10:30 or so.
Yeah.
And it was great, but I was in the zone, but I'd been doing it all day anyway, right? So
Yeah.
I gotta tap out when I'm sitting in front of my light for too long. My like the ring lights and everything for the studio, they bother my eyes after a little bit.
Yeah.
Record for so long, but then it sucks because you're in the zone and you don't want it to end.
Yeah, I noticed that by the end of last night. I'm just like, oh man, okay, this thing's been shining.
It's also sometimes like when you've been working on something for too long, then it's like in the evening, it's really hard, at least for me, to fall asleep because I'm still like everything's still going on here, and I'm still thinking about like the song or the thing I was working on. So I have to like to restrict myself a bit more and say, okay, from this point onwards, I don't do anything in that regard anymore. And I also I turn off all my devices.
Yeah, that's good.
Or maybe just listen to like when I go to bed, I usually listen to like an audiobook or something, and that helps me calm down and fall asleep better.
Nice.
I heard something about like when you're like about to fall asleep and you have like these creative ideas and you're like, okay, I'm gonna remember this for the morning, and you never do. You ever get that?
Yeah.
I heard about this thing where you can trick yourself into getting into that state. So you fall asleep on your couch with your arm dangling off and a spoon in your hand. And then when you fall asleep, you'll drop the spoon and wake up. And then you'll have all your memories, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole study behind it. I was like, that I'm not going to interrupt my sleep any more than it already gets interrupted. But.
Yeah. Ever since I've had Tiger, my cat, he usually wakes me up around 5 a.m. because he's hungry. So I really have to go to bed early.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, my kitten's got me up about 5 every day too. So.
Oh, your kitten's so cute. I've seen all the videos now on Instagram.
He's a little shithead, but he's pretty cute.
Yeah.
The big cat's starting to get used to him. Still like they won't like.
Oh, you have more than one?
So you want to hear a funny story?
Yeah, he's got a few.
I've got my cat.
Yeah, I gotta go use the bathroom.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah.
I've got my cat. His name's
I know
Eddie.
about the cats.
He's my pride and joy. I've had him for coming up on 5 years now. He's a Siamese ragdoll.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like hypoallergenic. You pick him up and he just hangs. Like, it's so funny. But he's a big cat. He's a big cat. And then we've got this kitten. But then the property we moved on to,
Yeah.
the owner said, listen, we're not looking to make a bunch of money off this property. They're like, we just don't want it to cost anything. So like, we'll give you a good deal on rent. But the deal is you have to take care of the 17 cats that live outside.
That's just a win.
17. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like we've become friends with lots of them, right? But like they're all strays. They've been like either abandoned or left behind and this and that. So it's like, but they're all so sweet and they play and they get along. And you know, they've got all their little food, like their eating spots. You got to go give them all a little cup of food every day. And yeah, it's so much fun, man. I'll send you a video.
Yeah, please do that.
That's the only thing I do.
I'm also like feeding the cats down on the street here. They belong to the neighbors, but like everyone feeds them, and I love that.
It's hard not to, man. They're so cool, right?
Yeah.
Miles Kennedy wrote a song from the perspective of his dog, and I want to write a song about the perspective of my cat because I vibe with that energy where it's just like, no, like fuck yourself. Like I got my own thing going on. Like you just stay out of my life. And cats are like that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also like, I still have to figure this out, but I want to write a song for Tiger. But yeah, writing something from the cat's or your pet's perspective sounds like a great approach.
Interesting, right?
Didn't think of that. That's cool.
I've never written before. Like I just started writing my first song. I'm working with a girl from England, my friend Lori, and I didn't realize that we were allowed to create a world for ourselves to live in and then write about. I didn't know we were allowed to do that. So it's like giving me this freedom. All of a sudden, I'm like, oh, I can just like go live in this little space for a minute, and it can just kind of be mine, and then I can just talk about it through poetry, and then it'll be my song. It's like,
sure.
I didn't know that.
Everything goes.
Yeah, why not? It's just art, right?
Yeah, sometimes it is, but I think I also said it last time. It's just a matter of like routine and practice. If you just keep at it and repeat the process like more and more, then things tend to become easier over time.
Honing it in. I've been trying to I have a book that's just for writing like practice lyrics now. So in the morning when I'm having my first coffee and I don't want to be on my computer and shit, I just so like making my coffee, I'll try to turn that into like a rhyme scheme and like a whole section and you know like getting the clothes and what color of socks I wear, like whatever, right? You just pick it all because the more creative, the more time you spend trying to find these words that land, the more freedom you get later to actually find the words that you need, right?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah, and
I mean, I'm also big into Eminem, or I was back when he was like huge, and he used to like go through the dictionary all the time and learn new words. So he had more words to rhyme with, which is like he's up there for a reason, you know. Like anything that like gives you new input and maybe keeps you going,
new inspiration.
Is good, you know.
I heard this stat the other day. It said like every 6th word Eminem says is a new word that he's never said in the song. Isn't that nuts?
That's crazy.
Especially with how fast and how many words sometimes he's saying. Like it's like, oh man, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But he can also tell a story, you know. It's not just it's not nonsense, or it's not just I think he's never repeating himself, which is pretty mind-boggling.
And like, you know, I like to think like, you know, if I have like, say if I had like childhood things or things that I wanted to rely on, then like you can go back to those topics, you can live in those moments, and like you can maybe have some like puns, or you're good at like, you know, having punches and lines around those things. But to be able to tell a story so many times and still make it so intriguing and still get so layered into it, it's just like I haven't seen that from another artist. You know what I mean? And I'm generalizing. I listen to a lot. I used to listen to a lot of Eminem. Now I listen to lots of like Tech, like Joyner, like I've been getting big into who are some of the big ones, like Kendrick lately.
Oh yeah, he's great.
The storytelling, man, is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Phry, this thing's gonna tap out here in about 10 minutes. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to say to the people?
Yeah, if you're still listening,
whoever's still here,
this late into the podcast.
Or whatever.
No, I'm all about connecting with people. So check out my my Facebook page or Instagram and write me a DM. You can always join my group where I interact with people. I'm also about to reevaluate and re-release my Inner Circle community, where there's lots of you get lots of behind the scenes material and bonus stuff from the making of my both of my EPs. And I'm also working on my guitar course. That's also out there. So there's lots of ways to connect with me if you want to learn how to play guitar, for instance, or if you just want to hang out with my community, you can do that. I'm easy to find. My name is quite unusual, so just wherever you are, except for like TikTok, just look for Phry McDunstan and you'll find me.
Nice.
No, that's been great, man. Awesome. I appreciate you being here again. It was fun to get the three of us together.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah,
awesome to meet you.
I really enjoyed that. Thanks for having me, and it's been great.
Yeah, man.
Do that more often.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
We're gonna start this into we're gonna start throwing recordings back and forth at each other. Y'all you know what? I'm talking to everybody here. I got my private page too. We can do whatever we want over there.
Sure.
I got my Patreon page. We can put behind the scenes stuff and unreleased stuff that the world doesn't need to see, but just a couple people.
Yeah.
If you want to test anything, man, y'all are welcome. Y'all are always welcome.
There we go.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, my friend. Thank you so much for hanging out.
Right on, man.
See everyone again soon.
See ya.
Have a great day, you guys.